welcome back to another video. I'm Caroline, one of the team members of this team, and today we're going to be talking about some of the interviews that we've been going through to get some of our research and everything. So for the interviews, we've been doing a lot of video chatting, and our first interview was with Bob and AJ, and they are two guys that are in wheelchairs that are disabled. So AJ works at McGee Rehab, and Bob works in the community to help organize events for people with disabilities and stuff like that. But we got a lot of information out of them, and so they taught us a lot about the basics of a disability, how to categorize, so whether somebody has a disability or not, but then also how to categorize them by the level of their injury, so C4 and C5, stuff like that. And then they also talked about how the daily struggles of their life, and how just going to the bathroom is hard. And so they gave us a lot of insight on struggles, which was very eye-opening for us. And then for the second interview, we talked to Keith and Pat. Keith was born with a disability, and Pat had an injury and then got his disability. But they both taught us about the Paralympics and all the sports that are in it. Keith was actually in the Paralympics, I think, twice for equestrian. And so they taught us a bunch of different sports. They range from all over the place. So they taught us about they taught us from archery with no arms, you use your feet and your mouth. And then they taught us about having to do basketball, trying to shoot the ball from the foul line in a wheelchair is so much harder than you think. They were trying to put it in perspective for us, but you have to experience it to actually know how hard it is. And then they also taught us about goalball, which is a sport for people with disability, being blind. And so they can't see the ball, so they have bells in it, and so to hear it as it's coming. So the objective is to score on the opposing team's goal. And so I guess they either roll it or kick it, and the person defending their own goal just dives in the way when they hear the ball coming, and they just dive in the way and try to keep it out. And so it's kind of like soccer, but also not. And it was just really cool, just see and hear just people just throwing themselves on the ground for diving in front of a ball. And then apparently there's bobsledding coming in 2022, I believe. That a person with a disability is doing bobsledding. That's just crazy to me. But yeah, so they taught us a bunch about the sports. And then they also taught us about how people without a disability can still play with people with a disability. So they just add an adaptation thing. So if somebody's blind and you're not, you just put a blindfold on, and then you're blind, so you can play with them the way that they play, so it's fair. And then they also told us about traveling with a disability, how it's you travel to some other place and they might not have the same culture as you, so their standards might be different. So you could travel to another place and they're not be curb cuts or ramps and stuff like that. So they were talking about how difficult it is to just travel and just get around. And then the third person we interviewed was Kim Dale, and she kind of told us about her job and a rec therapist. And so we learned that to deal with somebody who's going through a hard time and doesn't want to do anything, they try to do anything they can to make them want to do something, because they want to get their life back on track. But if they don't want to do anything, they just give them knowledge, so that if they do find the urge to want to do it, they know how to do it. And then she also talked about how community fades over time. So you may come out of the hospital and all these people offer you for help, or want to make you food, or build you a ramp or something. But then over time, those people quickly fade off and aren't there for you anymore, in a way. So you are by yourself, and it's you and your family, and so you feel alone, and sometimes you can get depressed. And so she told us of how she kind of works with that, and the way she can deal with that. And then lastly, she told us about how when she works with the group that she works with, so I think she does a travel basketball team, So like they have to go on a plane, and like to go on a plane, like they have to all have like catheters, because like they can't like get up and walk to the bathroom, and they don't always know when they have to go to the bathroom, so they have to have a catheter, I think, on the plane. And that was just like mind-blowing to me. Like I never even thought of like a person with a disability like on a plane, like and like the process that they have to go through to get on the plane, and then that they can't even like use the bathroom regularly, just like really like shocked me. And so this whole like we learned like all these experiences that we wouldn't learn from like online through all these interviews that we've had. It was just so eye-opening. If you want to learn more about our project, come back next week to watch the video.